Watching twilight on and on, without a clue, without a sign, without grasping yet the real question to be asked: where have I been? I'm a shapeshifter at post masquerade, hiding both face and mind, all free for you to draw. I'm a shapeshifter, what else should I be? Please don't take off my mask, revealing dark. Moments have come, nothing left to be found. A mirror right in.
Ah, good morning. Glad to see you made it on time. I'm not awfully nitpicky when it comes to being punctual, but it gives me a feeling that I can rely on you, which is the more important quality for me. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Today, we're going to go on a little in-the-field investigation. I have a couple things scheduled that I want you to tag along with. Don't worry, you won't have to do anything, and it won't be anything too exciting either. Don't want to scare you away on the first day on the job. I hope you studied the files I sent you over last week. Our first stop will be a date with Olivia Hardranger. We're set to meet in a cafe across the street. It's a quaint little place, and we just happen to be both regulars there. What are the odds? In general, I don't like inviting friends to my office. I just feel stuffy, you know. And I do at least want to offer them a proper cup of coffee for the trouble. We're going to receive some critical information about the operation our nemesis is running, I believe, so it's quite a big deal for me. What's that look on your face? Name's too cheesy? Look, I have nothing to go off of when it comes to him. No name, no face, no nothing. But that might actually change today, so here's hoping my creativity won't be necessary any longer. Next up is John Deringer, the priest at a local church. He has an interesting part-time job as an underground's weapons dealer. Or maybe the church gig is a side job? Well, in any case, he extended an invitation to me. Might as well honor it and see what he has to say. He's bound to have knowledge about the people I'm investigating, but I'm sure he's keeping client details confidential. You wouldn't survive as long as he did dealing with the underground if you didn't. Whatever happens after, I'll decide on the fly. Told you it's not going to be too exciting. Well, enough talking. Let us not keep Olivia waiting, shall we? Phew, why do I feel like I was just chewed out? Sorry you had to see that. I'll be honest, she's right. Pursuing this is a bad idea. And that's why I won't drag you into this. You can help with the investigation, but the dangerous stuff I'll do myself. Sorry, company policy. We're going to poke around in the matters of a criminal organization. And it's personal, so it's extra dangerous. I just want you to know that. There's no need for you to get into trouble for something that only matters to me. Although I suppose working for me already puts you in their line of sight. If you want to call it quits, now's a good chance. No? Well, I don't know what makes you so determined, but I'm not going to complain. Thank you anyways. So, this is the church. I'm curious to hear what Mr. Derringer has to say. Are you religious by any chance? I never thought much about it. Maybe it was divine intervention that I survived 6 months ago. Either that, or it was just a cruel joke. Everyone is on my case today, huh? Well, it can't be helped. I do sort of think I'm making a mistake here, but I still have to go through with it. I get that point, I really do. I have nothing to gain from putting myself in danger. You know? Just accept the past and move on with my life? I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a warrior of justice, or however you want to call it. But those people? My team. They were very important to me. And the reason I'd even get up in the morning. Especially the chief. I know how stupid this sounds, but I think in this modern world, a reason to live for is quite hard to come by. Wouldn't you agree? I won't bore you with the sentimental crap though. Excellent work today, assistant. I promise I'll have more for you to do. But this is just tying up loose ends. Nothing big. From here on out, I'll be on my own. I'll see you tomorrow around the same time at the office. Hello, hello. We finally made it over the finish line. I hope you enjoyed this. 22 minutes of recorded footage and edited to resemble a sort of VN style storytelling. By the way, this is live now, if if that wasn't apparent yet. So there was no interaction during the actual video part. I think that much made sense. Hello Traube and Foxy Roxy and Magic and Pastry. Hubie, of course. Got Alberto here. Jean. You guys hope you had fun. I was feeling a little bit anxious about the whole thing because it is just text pretty much, so it wasn't too exciting, I suppose. More or less, the idea was to give a baseline for the story, and obviously I had to explain a couple things, introduce the setting, and this is mostly just done through text. I have played with the idea of getting all these characters voiced. The problem is at this amount, and finding the proper voices is a little bit difficult. For the trailer I had a couple friends help out. If the names mean anything to you, there was Evening Primrose, another VTuber, and Congo VT, also another VTuber, that helped with the voices of Olivia and John Derringer. Exactly. You missed it, don't worry about it. Obviously the VOD will be up, and I think I'll separately upload it, so as its own thing. I feel like I'm not sure if YouTube even has the opportunity to cut things down, but I don't think the live streams that's a possibility. So otherwise I would just keep this after party as a VOD and then just upload the real episode again. But yeah, 2018, yeah, the calendar that So I thought about the story for the calendar, but the story is that I just moved into this office. It would be really weird to just hang up an outdated calendar just as you moved in. But it's okay. Maybe for the next time, for continuity, I will correct the calendar. You can, but you lose the chat. I see. That's unfortunate. Yeah. But yeah, I'll upload you can just watch the VOD then, or just, watch the video later. I'm not sure there's any reason to upload it separately, other than just having it for completeness sake, I guess. So I wanted to stay a little bit in the universe and talk a little bit about the project and where it's heading, if it is heading at all. We are exploring a sort of interesting investigation here. So there is some past that Coco has been going through, losing her former team of police investigators. They were like sort of a group, and they died 6 months ago, only with Coco to survive. So he took on a new see, I had to kind of work around the issue of the model being female, but me obviously not really working well, at least the voice. So the idea was to be able to investigate and to make sure that pursuers wouldn't catch on. There was a appearance change in order, and I feel like even though that's kind of blown now because we have met the mastermind behind it already, so in general, this was just kind of like the beginning of the story. And then I introduced all these new characters, of which you don't really know any. They're pretty much characters I made up. And if you're wondering where all the other flavor people are, I've mostly avoided with working with any of them for some personal reasons, I suppose. But there is a possibility to add them back, and that's where I kind of had the hook for the strategy game part, because it would be fun if you had more characters. And obviously the idea story-wise is that we're getting involved in dangerous stuff. We're fighting a criminal organization, and we need help. And the help we provided are gonna be flavor in a way. Just that in a universe, they're not really streamers. They are a sort of not really a resistance group. There's just kind of like a group of just people who have a lot of firepower. So they're just kind of, in the middle. They're like friends of Olivia and Kana in to a lesser degree, and they've been sort of working because we need some kind of force to stand up against the evil, and so we have this kind of like sort of militia group against the science guy and his creations, which more or less probably are supposed to go into like a little bit more body horror stuff. So if we can AI generate a couple of abominations and he just sends them out and we can fight them, that would be a pretty cool setting for like a sci-fi-ish battle system. And there's more to this, but I'm not revealing too much of it. There is more plans to where the story goes. It kind of has a conclusion already, so in theory it's all laid out. Just the way to how getting there would be the question. So if you have any questions towards the characters or anything that you've seen so far, I can at least attempt to explain a little bit more if anything wasn't clear. But if not, then most of the things will be explained as time goes on, I suppose. I wanted to make it an original story, and I want to see how far I can go with having AI support the entire thing. And it's quite interesting how easy it is to create characters, give them an appearance, and then attach like your own writing to it, and then have a completely new world that, it's just has been breathed life into through the power of AI, which I think is kind of nice. We met the mastermind, but do we know him? The mystery is great. Yeah, Mizuki is he's less of a mastermind. He's just a scientist. The thing is, he brings a certain amount of zeal with him. He's very eager to push his research because he thinks it can help a lot of people, and that's probably true, but the public perception is obviously a little bit against him. So he turned from this sort of positive person to more of a spiteful personality, and how that plays out we will see. But I think it is an interesting case of having like a frail sort of scientist person who was actually crippled or was disabled in his early lives and managed to help himself, cure himself, and then everyone just kind of is not okay with that. Just for the disclaimer, I'm not a scientist and I haven't done too much research on it. As far as my general knowledge goes, I think human testing is not a thing. I'm not sure what the consensus is on testing on yourself. I'm not sure if that's even practiced or allowed. But I'm just assuming, or I think it's at least somewhat believable that this would be looked down upon, even if you do it on yourself. Even though it's quite, if he actually managed to produce results, he would get support. The question is whether or not the public would know about this sort of thing. So in this realm, there is this juxtaposition of Kana having a clean research of, like, you know, supporting medical science by her nanotechnology, and Mizuki kind of like going, well, I want to cure myself, so I'll do whatever it takes, and even if I just shoot weird chemicals into my body, and if it helps me, then that's great. And he has found some sort of miracle compound that actually, the blueprint for this is a chemical compound that accelerates evolution. It sounds weird, but it's basically DNA manipulation and mutation. So think of, we have our human body, and the chemical basically accelerates it, pushing it 1,000, 10,000, or 100,000 years in the future. How evolution would progress. Would we get more optimized bodies? Would we degrade over time? And by pushing this into a certain direction, what would happen is that the bodies would get stronger. And so you basically just have like a growth spurt, I guess. And of course, this is all fictional and doesn't make any sense. But, you know, it's a sense of disbelief or whatever that's called. We're just assuming that he has found the Holy Grail, and but yeah, it's taken a toll on a lot of people. We have to sacrifice a lot of people because the only way to test this is to just inject this into people and see how it turns out, and we get a lot of failures, which explains the meat shoved into the boxes, and so we arrive at this place where we side with the good guys, which is Kana in this case. We want to figure out what it is that he's trying to do and put a stop to this, because we think that's not correct. Even if these people agreed to be tested on, we soon learn that his goals are not entirely onto saving the human race as a whole, or like helping them through medical advancements, because there is a point to be made. Do we humans, if possible, can get a lot stronger? You know, the bodies can get stronger. Like, aside from the fact that we can cure diseases and all that stuff, if we could just take the entire human race and we would all be strong like gorillas, for example, would that be a good thing even? Is that something we would support and force? Or is that something that we shouldn't tamper with because, you know, morals and stuff? I can't believe Ansel Arknights commits medical malpractice. Yeah, I think he does look a little bit like Ansel. So for those people who have played Arknights, we'll see a little bit of the resources being used. I used a couple songs. Obviously the trailer for the second episode, very good song, Operation Pyrite. It just fits, and I think the storytelling is a little bit leaned onto, you know, how Arknights tells their story, and I've been personally enjoying the journey into Arknights, so I feel like maybe I could let this influence myself a little bit when telling this story. Resident Evil time, shoving meat into boxes. It's made in Abyss all over again. Yeah, this was hard to visualize. I didn't know how to do this, but basically he's storing like these meat samples, so he has patients that come to him for a chance for a cure, and he tells them, so I have cured myself because I was paralyzed, so I can do this to you, but it's not guaranteed. You sign this contract, and they're desperate enough because nobody can help them, or they have no money, they accept anyways. The experiment fails, they mutate or whatever, and then they just die or something, and then they use the body to do more research on it, because, you know, having fresh human meat to pump chemicals into, to, you know, do more research, see how it behaves, is very good, and you can't just get fresh human meat from anywhere, so this is a loophole. But it's obviously not a very ethical loophole. So I'm not sure what the legal thing is, that if you sign a contract that you subject yourself to experiments that could kill you, and then they gain the rights to harvest your body for parts, you know, you would have a hard time making that stick, I suppose. But maybe it's totally legal, I don't know. Probably not, though. But yeah, that's pretty much the sort of outlining the story bits. And FlaVR is gonna could play a part of it, but that depends on how much I want to involve the other talents into this, because I feel like at this point, I guess it's a little self-indulgent trying to tell my own story, but I think the goal for this was to... I had a vision when I saw the character, the Coconut Blanc, and I came up with the story, and I thought I wanted to see this at least be realized. To see someone else, or you guys, I guess, to see what I thought of the character and where this could go. Persona intro made me laugh a little. Yeah, can never go wrong with Persona. I wanted to find replacement music, but it's just too good for this kind of stuff. I'm sure some of them would be willing to voice act. Yeah, so the reason why I haven't asked them to voice any of the original characters is because if I plan to add them, they would have to voice themselves. Which means that, yeah, they wouldn't be available. But I do have some people that were willing to voice act for the characters. So that would be a possibility, but only for the future, really. The scope was a little bit too great for this type. All this came to me in a dream, induced by alcohol and shrooms. I actually do neither of them. I'm a pretty straight edge guy. I don't drink much or do any drugs. So I think this should pretty much be for a summary of my thoughts about the project itself. The future of this is pretty open. I'll be honest. I've been working on and off for this for like 2 months, I think, and it obviously didn't consume all of my time. It's still time consuming, and the matter of the fact is I don't really have the energy and time to dedicate myself to a project like this. So I'm uncertain whether or not I will be able to continue this. So I've played with a couple thoughts, and I'm just going to address them all because I feel like it would be interesting to clear some of the mystique about the character and about myself. I honestly don't think that regular streaming is a feasible solution for me. I like putting effort into these kind of streams, and while there is a lot of world building and personality stuff I could do with you as the assistant and Coco as the investigator, not every stream has to further the story in some way or another. I could sort of do these in like 2-3 months. You know, what's the word I'm looking for? Sections? Not really. So like in intervals, 2 to 3 month intervals, where I have like a big stream planned, and in between that would be smaller streams that just kind of, you know, a little bit of a different stuff. I have a couple ideas planned out, but matter of the fact is, I don't think I am that entertaining as a streamer. So I don't have this sort of like energetic type of stream environment that most of the other flavors have. And whether or not you want to see that or you just want to see something else, I don't believe that I will become a regular streamer trying to fit in with them. I think that ship has sailed. And if anything, the only thing I would be going live for is to further develop the world I have created around Coco. The big problem is, of course, my energy and overall my motivation to do this varies a lot. This has been already pretty tricky to get out. I had, and this whole episode 1 deal. As much as I would love to admit that I'm a little proud of it, I think it only reached about 30 to 40% of my expectations, which, you know, isn't that much. I wanted to do more 3D work, but I figured out that my workflow for animation is just not good enough. You need to have serious skills in order to do 3D animations properly. And it's just very difficult to do that sort of thing. Doing action shots and all the like. It is very time consuming, very complicated, and it's just hard. It's just hard. I wish to do more because I need the practice for other projects that I have, but for now I think this is as good as it gets. I can do interactive story stuff, so with multiple choices that allows for viewers to vote, having branching story paths that is influenced by you would be kind of nice, because you get to actually decide where the story goes by playing the role of the assistant, which I haven't played into this first thing because it was just an introduction to the world. And the RPG sections would be kind of nice to just sort of break up the monotony a little bit and have some entertainment on the go. Maybe I would even be able to make playable parts that I could upload. And then you could play them, and maybe there would be secrets you can find. I could tell the story for those, and maybe by giving back a code or something, or unlocking like a secret by finding out a specific way, you would be able to unlock like story bits for a later stream. All of these are ideas that could be done, but again, whether it be 3D work or whether it be the RPG, the game development stuff, this all takes time. And it's sad to say that this took 3 months for a 20-minute section when someone else or I could just go online and do a 5-hour stream and you would have like 5 hours worth of entertainment. You know, the value proposition is just not there. Like what? You are listening to someone indulging in his own crazy world, which is only mediocrely, is that a word? Written, because I'm not a writer. I can't write stories, and yeah, it's. But at the same time, it's not the worst thing in the world. You know, there is many ways to realize this, but it's also. I'm not a workaholic. I'm not a type of person that can do stuff like this. You know, we all know people like Toby Fox who are able to make everything by themselves. They can make a whole ass game. They're good at writing. They're good at character design, even if he had a little bit of help. And most important, he can make the music. And of course, I can substitute a lot of this, and I can ask for help too. But obviously, I want most of this to fall on myself because, well, I want this to be my project pretty much. I'm a little selfish in that regard. I've seen projects like this take years to finish, so don't feel bad. Yeah, I've recently, for those who are interested, Fox in Space. It's like a fan-made animation revolving around the Star Fox universe. Has recently uploaded their second episode, and I think this took like 7 years to make because it's like full animation. Which he did all the voices, the music, and all the panels himself. amazing work. I definitely recommend checking that out. It's called A Fox in Space. And there's 2 episodes out. One is like very old, and just the second episode came out recently. Amazing work. Cinematography is just great. And if you just want to have a good time, like 40 minutes of animation, just sit down and watch it. It's great. I definitely recommend it. And I think I could do something like this. Maybe not with animation, maybe broken up with a little bit of an easier time, but it's fun to do something like that. But to address the elephant in the room, he inspired a lot of, or like excited a lot of people with his first episode to the point where he'd get to a Patreon and get like $3,000 a month to work on this project for many, many years. And I'm just a guy who entertains a handful of people. So, again, not to be too pessimistic about the whole thing, but it is, in the end, just a fulfillment of my own interests, pretty much. And just, working on it for the artistic value of it and just, creative expression, or whatever you want to call it. If it takes time, it takes time. I don't think any of us would be too bent if it took a while. This was good quality content. Naturally. And of course, none of you would be mad if I just stopped doing it. You don't get to be mad. But yeah, right now I'm in a difficult spot. I won't be able to do much for the next couple months because I'll be mostly busy working. And it's getting worse and worse too. I don't even, my vacation got cancelled, so it's like all the way back in October where I get my first day off. And yeah, it's rough. And yeah, I'm not a workaholic. I'm not like that guy who can dedicate his entire life to a project and then work on it diligently every day until he finally gets it out the door. I just get sad and sit there for a couple of weeks doing absolutely nothing. I can't even do the things that I want to do. So, yeah. But that's just kind of my personal opinion on this. It's tricky. It's a big effort to do something like this, and obviously I'd like to just press the go live button and do whatever, but I think I'm just not that kind of person. I'm not that kind of stand-up comedian or whatever. Or whatever quality you would want to see in a streamer. Understanding your scope is important, but don't let yourself be shackled by it. Yeah, that's obviously important. That's why I chose to do this VN style and not 3D, because I realized after I released the episode 1 trailer, this a minute and a half is the maximum amount of animation that I can possibly do. And that already took 2 weeks of dedication towards it. So this is a lot more manageable because it's not difficult to make. It just takes a little while. And it's basically just text, so I can do this very easily. But then it wouldn't be that interesting, I think. There needs to be some more, something more to elevate this, and I think through viewer interaction and maybe game bits, this would actually be quite fun to do. Now I have to get mad in such a case just to spite you. I see. The tried and true, but I'm pretty much immune to that. Well, I think that mostly sums up the things that I wanted to say. If there is anything you want to ask me personally, or you would like to ask about the project or the world, now is your chance. I mean, your chance has been here the entire time. But I have nothing else really planned. I just wanted to give myself the option to, talk a little bit about this, because I've been quiet for quite some time, and I guess I'm just here to update you that this probably won't change anytime soon. I don't see myself fitting very well into the streamer environment that we have now. So I do believe that this is not the right approach for me to make, even though some people would like to see me stream. It's not really that. I don't see it. Personally, I don't see it. Do an improvised karaoke section. It is midnight. If I start singing now, my neighbors will kill me. That's the difficulty. It's I have to stream very late to catch the Americans. So I will not. I apologize. What if you use something like motion capture to create animations? There is the possibility, but you do need a rig for that, which costs money. Not that I don't have the money to spend. The question is whether or not that's a worthwhile investment. I've been eyeing the Mokobi trackers that Sony has brought out. They're only, I think, $300 or $400, but they're only available in Japan. And maybe this would be an option if I ever travel to Japan, which is the plan set for this year. Whenever I get my vacation, I'll definitely pick some up of them. That's the general gist of it. There's more ways to do motion capture, of course, but most of it is not very good. Also, it doesn't help that Vroid models are very jank. Also, on top of the fact that I have to do models for every single character if I want to do the 3D stuff, which adds even more overhead. It just becomes too big of a project for someone who doesn't actually know how to do 3D. So, unfortunate, but it's about what I think it's not feasible. A lot of people in FlaVR are here to learn how to do stuff and have fun. Pretty much, I guess. I do use this to like kind of learn more about myself, more about the project, more about the technology. I'm always fascinated about streaming, and I want to see how far I can push the medium. I do this on my other stream as well. I've recently been doing outdoor streams, which have been kind of fun. I see you have gotten a taste of the outdoor streaming as well, albeit in a little bit of a different context. But yeah, that's pretty much what my goals are. And I'll have to see. I have to tackle it one at a time. No matter how confident or how competent I seem, this project is held together with duct tape and bubblegum. So just like my personality is and my mentality. So it can all come crashing down and I'll just lie in bed crying all night. But for today, I'm glad that I managed to succeed in what I set out to do. At least to, well, 30%, I suppose. Well, 40 maybe. I used to Xbox 360 Connect once and it worked really well for motion capture. Yeah, it depends on how you capture all of that stuff and how you put it into Unity and bring it into a format. I know that the Connect works. You also need a little bit of room for that, which my apartment, well, it is very, very tiny, and there's a couple additional problems that I would have to solve logistically in order to make that stuff work. But yeah, I have to read more into this if I really want to do it. I'm also planning to maybe get Maya. They have like a new rigging animation tool, but yeah, it's definitely hard to do something like that, and that means I have to learn more things, which just kind of take a while. Now I have to politely riot. I apologize. I'm not a spontaneous streamer. I'm always around you if you need outsourcing anything. Yeah, I get it. And a lot of people have reached out wanting to help me. I'm more of a guy that if I don't do it myself, it's not fulfilling. I guess that sounds a little weird, but maybe a little prideful. For me, it is more important to prove to myself that I did the thing rather than having people... having people help me is great, but this is less about bringing a project to life. I mean, a streamer things. This might sound a little bit narcissistic, but overall, a streamer journey, it's like an individual thing, right? You want it to be your own thing. You want to carve in your own space and represent your character or yourself. And for me, a lot of it's important that I can be proud of the stuff that I do. Not that accepting help is necessarily anything bad. That's not what I'm saying. And if I feel like I commit to something where I just would need help, then I would definitely reach out. But for now, most of this isn't really down to whether or not I can do it, but whether or not I have the motivation to do it. But that's the same with all things, isn't it? But yes, projects are hard and sort of fulfilling when you do them. For me, it's always been troublesome, and I fear that I will be extremely busy for at least half a year, which creates like an overhead that I'm not able to find enough like headspace to continue this. And so I'm not sure you can expect episode 2, because episode 2 has more of a scope than 1 even. This to be done in like 1 or 2 months, that's not realistic. And I'm assuming that at some point this whole thing gets forgotten anyways, because I mean, I'm already pretty late to the party. I remember claiming the Coconut Blanc account on like in December. Was it in December? It's been 5 months almost, and I've streamed once. This is my second time streaming, so I can hardly be called a streamer, can I? It's not real when you don't do it mostly yourself. Yeah, it's a pride thing. You want to express yourself and show everyone how cool you are. If you go with the idea of making an SRPG game, you will need help though. Not necessarily. I have a lot of experience in game development and making this sort of stuff. So for the scope that I have planned, this is definitely doable. I already have the mechanics and everything set up. So the only thing I need to do is create the resources, which AI generation comes in handy. And the only thing I need to do is like mapping, which I can do myself, the eventing that I can also do myself. And then, yeah, everything else is just a matter of like putting effort into it. And I can work on this on and off. It's fun. I like game development types. I've done some horror bits, some base RPG stuff, and like high fantasy. And I have one other project in the works that involves some other stuff. But yeah, it's just a lot of workload for someone who isn't a Toby Fox, who isn't entirely driven by his determination to make things. But maybe they aren't either. Maybe they're just more disciplined. Who knows? It is definitely a work in progress, and I'm trying to at least not disappoint people, but I'm also not trying to get anyone's hopes up. So if there's stuff coming out, you'll get it, but I'm definitely not trying to make you wait for something that might never come out. You did good with the progress updates. As long as you stay in people's heads, they will wait. I suppose so. There's always going to be someone interested in that sort of thing. But yeah. So, I think that is pretty much it. To be fair, Toby Fox has a team now. Well, obviously, Deltarune has been increasing the scope, which I like. Definitely an amazing development and evolution of his concept, and while his soul is still there, it's crazy. It's amazing, and maybe one day I can push something out the door that will have just a fraction of that energy and that creativity put into it. Definitely a huge inspiration for me. As somebody driven by determination to make things, it's also a time and money factor. If I had no bills to pay, I'd be doing dev work 10 hours a day every day. I see. That's interesting. I don't actually think that. My life is overall pretty low impact. I mean, work is taking a lot of my energy, but even if I wasn't working, I'm mostly not motivated enough to work on stuff either. It's just that I'm generally very undisciplined, I'd say. Maybe that's a lack of a father figure? Probably. But overall, I think I'm still trying my best to at least make something that people can enjoy watching. And I hope you guys had fun watching a little bit of a weird story. I hope the text was readable. I thought it was a little bit too fast at the end. I could read it, but you have to kind of like read it fast-ish. Wasn't really sure how to pace that out, but I didn't want to get it too long. 22 minutes of just text is, you know. You'd be surprised what getting a week off of work does for motivation. Oh, when I get a week off of work, all I do is sleep. But I think that comes down to the fact that I'm actually a shift worker. And whenever I'm not working, my body immediately goes into hibernation mode. Yeah, that's another thing. I work 3 shifts, so streams is... yeah, that's tricky. A bit fast in places, but it was readable. I think for someone who maybe is not native English reader, that might be a little bit tough. You have to definitely speed read it, a couple points. I think it's very uncomfortable reading text that is just pushed ahead by someone else. So I'm thinking that the majority of the text... That's why I thought about the RPG idea in the first place. I could move most of the text into the game, and giving you the option to play it means that you can advance it at your own leisure. Which makes a lot more sense, I think, for this sort of stuff. It also saves me the editing work, because I just can throw it into a game. A lot easier. Text was a little fast, you had time to read, but not look at the backgrounds or characters. Yeah, I think that's what I didn't really factor in. Although there wasn't much to see. After all, you can watch this VOD, and I'll throw up the video, so you'll be able to watch this again if you're so inclined, and slow it down or just pause when you want to see the characters. There's a lot of AI stuff going on. There was more. We definitely worked together with Yubi on some of the AI stuff, because my PC is actually not good enough to do that thing. I have a 2060, and that GPU does not handle AI generation very well. So I had to get a little help, especially with the bigger pictures, because this is 1080p. So I needed some of the pictures to be very high resolution for it to look good. And then, of course, all the cutting and stuff that I did. The backgrounds are mostly from my 3D scenes. Obviously, you know, my party trick is we are in a 3D scene right now. I have like different cameras here. You know, it is a fully interactable 3D environment that I can utilize on streams as well. There's the outside view, of course, if you're so inclined. It's a little bare bones, the overall thing, but you know, it is fun to be able to play around that sort of camera perspectives. And obviously, if I wanted to move around the camera, that works too. I have all these options to fully let this world come to life, and for obviously for just having like backgrounds and stuff. Just as you have seen a lot of the 3D environments in the trailer itself too. So I've created myself a little world, and it's just been a fun time exploring this, but it's also very tedious and very time consuming. All right. I think I rambled on for long enough. The outside view, more commonly known as the stalker POV. I see. Well, I think with that, I will release you into the wild, my dear assistants. I hope you had fun. I can't promise that we'll see each other again in the near future, but I'll try to at least stay active on Twitter if you want to know what I'm up to and how things are progressing, or if at all. Again, I'm 50-50 on whether or not I even want to continue this or not. If I decide to not go with it, I at least want to have given you a little bit of an insight into the world that I thought up for Coconut, and I hope at least that gave you a little bit of, something substantial. In any case, I thank you all for joining me tonight. I'll take my leave now. I wish you a good day or rest of the night, whatever you're having, and I'll see you next time.